Before the world was warm, before the oceans sang, and before civilization had a name, there was ice, endless ice. It stretched across the continents, swallowing mountains, forests, and valleys. The sky was grey for centuries, the air sharp enough to burn the lungs, and in that frozen silence life fought to endure. Among the shadows of mammoths and saber-toothed predators, early humans learned the hardest lesson of all. Survival was not just about strength, it was about unity. They were wanderers, wrapped in furs, their faces scarred by wind and time. They followed herds through the snow, crossing glaciers and frozen plains in search of food and fire. Every breath they took turned to frost. Every heartbeat was a battle against extinction. The Ice Age was merciless. Temperatures plunged far below freezing. Storms could last for weeks, burying entire valleys beneath white mountains of snow. Food was scarce. The land was alive with beasts, colossal mammoths, woolly rhinoceroses, cave lions, dire wolves, each one as desperate to survive as man himself. But humanity had something the others did not: imagination. They began to understand the rhythm of the seasons, the migrations of animals, the power of tools. A sharpened stone became a weapon. A spark from flint became fire. The first fire was a miracle. It began as a flicker, trembling in the wind, and became a light against the darkness. Around it they gathered, men, women, children, their faces glowing orange in the cold blue night. For the first time, fear retreated. Fire was warmth. Fire was life. It chased away the shadows and brought stories to the lips of the survivors. In the heart of the Ice Age, tribes were born. Families became clans, and clans became small nations wandering through the tundra. They built shelters from bones and hides. They carved tusks into needles, sewed furs into clothing, and used mammoth ribs to frame their homes. Each invention was born of desperation, and every discovery was written in frost and blood. They learned to communicate not just with grunts or gestures, but with words. And with language came memory. And with memory came hope. The days were short and brutal. The nights longer than death itself. But they endured. They learned to track animals by footprints in the snow. They stored fat and meat in frozen ground to last through the starving months. They hunted in silence, using spears tipped with sharpened stone and courage beyond comprehension. The cold shaped them. Their bodies grew stronger, their hands calloused, their hearts relentless. They became masters of adaptation, learning that survival was not about defeating nature, but living alongside it. At the height of the Ice Age, when glaciers covered half the planet, humans migrated across lands that no longer exist, frozen bridges of ice connecting continents. They crossed into new worlds, from Africa into Asia, from Siberia into the Americas. Every migration was a gamble with death, but hope pushed them forward. They found caves where they could escape the storms. Inside, they painted on the walls stories of hunts, of spirits, of the great beasts they fought and feared. The caves became sanctuaries, their walls illuminated by torchlight and belief. And though the artists never knew it, those paintings would speak to their descendants tens of thousands of years later. They believed in unseen powers, the sun, the moon, the spirits of the animals that fed them. To them, life and death were not separate. They saw meaning in the hunt, gratitude in the kill, and reverence in every drop of blood spilled upon the snow. They prayed to the wind for mercy, to the sky for warmth, and to the earth for another dawn. And slowly, over generations, the ice began to retreat. The world warmed. The rivers returned, carving new valleys through the melting glaciers. Forests began to grow where there had been only ice. But humanity had changed forever. The people who had survived the coldest age learned to thrive in any climate. They carried the fire of their ancestors, the memory of struggle, the spirit of endurance. Their tools evolved, from flint to bone, from bone to bronze. Their shelters became villages, their tribes became communities, yet they never forgot the lessons the Ice Age had carved into their souls. That fire is sacred, that unity is strength, that the human spirit cannot be frozen. Even as the centuries passed, the descendants of those survivors told stories by the firelight. Stories of gods of ice and sun, of great beasts and brave hunters, of spirits who walked the tundra long before cities rose. Every myth, every legend, every prayer whispered through the ages carried the echo of that ancient frost. Because the Ice Age never truly ended, it lived within them, in their resilience, in their courage, in their hunger to explore. And even now, as modern humans walk under electric lights instead of torches, that same ancient fire still burns in our hearts. It is the fire that makes us create, build, dream, and survive. It is the whisper of our ancestors saying, "We endured. You will too." The story of humanity is not written in comfort. It is written in ice and fire and unyielding hope. And as long as the fire still burns within us, the cold can never win, because we are the survivors of the Ice Age.